This is a very unique group. We have a group of scientists, proven scientists, educators, teachers, physicians, and PhDs, and nurses, and doctors, and patients, all really speaking with one voice, saying one thing, and that is not enough is being done. It's not being done fast enough, and that patients with chronic fatigue syndrome have a real illness that makes their lives and their families' lives miserable at times. And despite that, they still come out to a meeting like this to, again, exhaust themselves and tell their story in the hopes of helping other people that have the same syndrome they have but can't make it to this meeting. So I think there's a very poignant, is that poignant? Did I say that right? Mm-hmm. Poignant, excuse me. Poignant, that's my Jersey City accent. Poignant story being told here at every meeting. And Wanda was gracious and wise enough to have it filmed. So maybe one of the things we should do, if we can get permission, is to have this announced to the news media that they have access, if they wanted to use it, this video of this meeting. Len? Jason. Jeez.
I want to shift gears if I can. Wanda, we talked, I guess, privately, or we were mentioning the transition to a new chair and whether the committee members might have any input or influence on the next chair of the committee. And I guess it's as good a time as any to share my views that I'd like to see Chris Snell move into that role beginning with the next meeting. I don't know what the rest of the committee's views are, but if you can communicate that to whoever is in the role of making that determination. I know we're losing a number of members.
5 members.
And I would support that because I think Chris has the respect of the committee members. He showed leadership on just a number of issues, so I would feel very comfortable with him taking over Jim's position.
Jim.
Okay.
And the reassuring thing is that Chris's term runs until April 1st, 2011. So you would have a little more than a year, but, terms get extended. Anything could happen, but at least you're not rotating off next summer as a couple more members are.
Rebecca?
Along those lines, I know you're redoing the charter. I think in having a chair, you might consider making that a 4-year term as opposed to a 3-year term. Because that continuity, as you transition people, it becomes difficult. I mean, I don't.
The possibility of a chair-elect, I think, so that the person who is the chair-elect knows that they're going to be the chair the next time around.
Instead of having it sprung on you.
Yeah.
That's actually an excellent idea. Is to this time, let's choose a chair and a chair-elect. And I would also recommend very strongly that previous chairs are no longer eligible for being on this committee or being chair of this committee. Nancy?
While we're on the theme, I know that we had talked about some way to get our reports sort of face-to-face, a level or two up, and that you had in the past met with, at one point, the acting Surgeon General. There's some discussion of the Assistant Secretary of Health after this meeting. I would hope that whoever the next chairman would be, next chairperson would be, would also be at that meeting again for the continuity.
Yes. In fact, if in fact we can get a meeting before I cycle off, I guess it's January 1st, 2010, whoever is elected needs to be at that meeting, has to be there. Well, I don't think we're allowed to elect anybody, but we can give our suggestions, I guess.
Yes.
Rebecca?
But could we, as a committee, voice our opinion on this concept?
Well, yeah, I think we can voice our opinion. But we haven't heard from everyone.
Yeah.
There's some people who might hate Christopher.
No.
Believe me, they're all.
No, I wanted to
But I
say that.
nominated him notwithstanding that.
But would you like us all to raise our hand in support of that, or not?
Well, I don't want to put people on the spot. If people want to say something, they may not.
Well, I would support that.
No, I mean, there's some people who might want to be chair themselves. I mean, I look at Nancy, and she's an ideal chair, I would think. You know, I'm just saying there's a lot of people. In fact, I think everyone on this committee right now, except myself, would probably, with the guys you work with. Now, I don't know how the committee's going to change. One of the things I want to say in my sort of going away speech, and I'm giving it away all the time, but is that how they select people on this committee is sometimes luck. And I think we have a good mix. I don't think we had previously someone like Jason. We'll never probably get another person to replace Rebecca, but that kind of individuals, as well as all the others who are experts. I mean, we have very senior people here who are gray, hopefully a little wiser because of living through this epidemic, and so you have a good group. And I think, and I'm sure that Wanda wants to make sure that the selection process, both for who's going to be the chair, is someone that she could work with, but also that the new people coming on are of the same caliber as and it sounds like I'm bragging, but in some ways I think it is important around this table. I notice there's not too many people from the audience still here, but if any of you have a burning desire to say a few words, less than a minute, since we're talking about something very important, I would entertain that. But I think that whatever we do, it needs to be supported, hopefully, as I feel we were supported by the community. Without that, if there was ever a time that this committee had a negative relationship with the community, I don't think we can get anything done. Okay. Now, anybody else want to say anything?
Right.
Oh, yeah, well,
I think they're ready.
All right, is the other committee reports ready? I'm being handed 4 lines on a typewritten page. So if you're wasting a lot of paper for these 4 lines, they better be good.
All right.
Christine?
Yes. We met briefly and had reviewed our recommendations from the previous meetings, and thought it would be helpful to construct a new recommendation for this meeting, sort of and again in the concept of the preamble that we've been using in the past. ARC is expected to complete a review of CFS prior to the NIH State of the Science Workshop. After this process, the findings must be communicated to key medical education, accreditation, licensing boards, specialty boards, and certification organizations. In addition, the Surgeon General's letter must be sent, must be written and sent to clinicians and other healthcare professionals throughout the United States and territories. This summarizes a couple of the themes that we've heard this meeting and past meetings, and that were really very well articulated by Dr. Friedman, and the need to ensure that education about CFS is included in education for all clinicians, whether they be physicians, physician assistants, nurse practitioners, and other healthcare professionals.
So this is in the form of a recommendation.
Correct.
And just so I understand it, AHRQ is who?
Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality.
That's
what
one
you were calling AHCPR.
Yeah, because that's what I worked for a long time ago.
Right.
So we're going to ask that agency.
Well, I believe it was stated earlier today that is part of the process that generally happens prior to the NIH State of the Science workshops. But we wanted to, again, ask that it be in the record, that's our expectation as CFSAC.
Okay. Do you want to, I get a little nervous when is expected and prior to, which are not defined. In other words,